Welcome to The Speaking Citizen. I am your host, Nehru Jafar. Today, meet Vikramjit Singh Rooprai, founder, Youth for Heritage Foundation. Vikramjit, Vikramjit left a lucrative cooperative life to start the Delhi Heritage Photography Club as well. He is today an educationist and the author of a series of books called Delhi Heritage Top 10. I just received my copy of his latest publication by Niyogi just now in the post. So, Vikramjit, I haven't had time to actually read this book of yours, but you can tell us about it as we continue to talk. We will talk today to Vikramjit about heritage matters and what made him give up everything coveted by others to devote his life to learning. We will find out what inspires somebody so young like him to dive into history and heritage at a time when other youngsters may be collecting six-figure salaries for other professions that they follow. My very first question to you, Vikramjit, is what is this Heritage Lab and Heritage Shala?
So, okay, beyond my IT career, I had a roller coaster journey in this field of heritage. Started originally, I started Delhi Heritage Awareness Club, but nobody was interested in heritage. So I just renamed it to Delhi Heritage Photography Club. Today we have got some 24,000 members or so. Uh, People were fascinated by that, so I started looking, at heritage from a different angle, established Youth for Heritage Foundation and all. And that is when I realized, while I was trying to promote all that, I realized that in India, students, adults don't understand heritage because bachpan se padhaya nahi gaya. Students also, as a student, we never got connected with our heritage. So I thought, why don't I go to schools and I talk to children? When I started talking to children, I realized that teachers are also not aware, students are also not aware, our curriculum is not up to the mark. So then I had no other option but to come up with some ideas that would make heritage interesting. And Heritage Lab was quite a fascinating thing, which I thought can help students to reach to that level. So what I did, I started this company called Heritage Shala, which is Heritage Ki Prayog Shala, where what we did, we used to set up, we would take up a room inside the school and convert it to a heritage lab where you would do all kind of experiments, science, maths, and the reference would be history. So if somewhere in the, in one of the battles a catapult was used, we will study the physics of the catapult. Or probably if they poisoned a king, we would, obviously we won't bring poison to the room, but we would study how poison works and how it works on internal organs. So that's pure chemistry and biology. But it is again, it comes from the story that has been there in history. So what we did, we started connecting our historic stories, anecdotes, references. Heritage Shala was something that an idea came to my mind. Heritage Ki Prayog Shala. Can we set up labs in schools where, because I thought that when these stories happened or when those incidents happened, when these kings were trying to build something or do something, they were not doing it just because they wanted to make a mark in history. Although that could have been in a few cases or somewhere back of their mind, but in most of the cases they were trying to solve a problem. If they're building a fort, they were just creating a defense. Actually, they're building a city, they were providing for their own subjects. uh, so is it important to read those forts and tombs and monuments and cities in history textbooks as a story of bygone era, or can we actually dive deeper into the science of those construction, into the politics of that construction? Why was it built at this strategic location and not the other one? Get into those debates so that children are more engaged. And that is exactly what Heritage Labs did, where we got into the science of the physics, the mathematics, the chemistry. For example, we using this example of poison, that if a king is poisoned, what kind of chemical reaction happens inside the body, how do our organs react to something that our body is not designed for. So that's pure biology and chemistry, but the references come from stories. So we start working on that. Can I look at a monument and tell how high it is? Children often ask us that why are you teaching us this or that subject in our classes? But then every single subject that we teach, and I call this applied education, just like we have applied physics and applied chemistry, applied maths, we have in general applied education. Whatever you're learning in your classroom can actually be applied in real world. The only problem is teachers are not aware, and they are, even when they are aware, they are not probably able to communicate it to the children in a proper manner. So all my work, including my books, including the workshops that I do, revolve around this idea that whatever you see around you and whatever has happened in the past has got some relevance and some science behind it. Let's sit and talk about it. Let's try to look at it with a more scientific temperament. That's Heritage Shala.
So how do you challenge attempts uh, to falsify history? You know, how do you challenge attempts to actually go against what actually happened in the past and to create a narrative of convenience, you know, in the presence?
So this is something that I have been struggling with because everywhere you see people have created narratives of their convenience, be it aligned to a political ideology or a religious ideology, or just because I think so, I thought so. That is how it has to happen. 10,000 years ago. I mean, yeah. The challenge here is that none of us were the witness to those incidents. So can we actually read the records of people who were witness? But then again, eyewitness accounts are also not reliable because there is a strong possibility that the eyewitness who is documenting it was probably commissioned by the victor. The person who got defeated would never commission. He wouldn't be left with enough money to commission scribes to write narratives or ballads on him, probably on his defeat. So the only solution left is you look at contemporary records from neutral parties. For example, when I was reading about Prithviraj Chauhan, at that time there were some Jain scholars who were living around these areas, and they had to do nothing with the battle. And Jains have been so neutral most of their history, but they have been documenting. They're good writers. They document a lot. So in their documents, you would actually find mentions of the king that the kingdom that they're living in, and now all of a sudden the kingdom has changed, the king has changed, the religion has changed, new things are happening. They are also surprised. People are trying to adjust to it. So they are also writing. So when you read those accounts and you try to compare it with Prithviraj Raso of Chand Bardai, which claims to be the contemporary record, which actually it is not, you will find two totally different stories. So the only solution I would say is do not stick yourself with one person or one narrative. You have to read multiple narratives and you have to read counter narratives. We know so much of Babar. Read his own diary, read people who were defeated by him and what their subjects have been writing about him. People in other countries who have been traveling, maybe Portuguese are coming in or the British later came in. How did they see all that and they write? And also try to, so this is one thing that I do. I love creating timelines. For example, when Ibn Battuta says that I was present when Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq was being murdered, as he claims, and then he says that I met Muhammad bin Tughlaq in his palace and he's the king. If Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq is still alive, how is Muhammad bin Tughlaq even Muhammad bin Tughlaq? He is still Jana Khan. So there is a problem in the narrative. You have to challenge whatever you read. And for that, you need to read multiple narratives, only then you'll be able to challenge it. So that's my way of going about it.
But that seems like too much work for the people who are in a hurry to rewrite history. And also, what is most disturbing is also uh, giving examples of convenience from history to take revenge in the present. And that is so
True.
dangerous and so fearful. So I don't know how the Heritage Shala deals with attempts like that to
Uh,
can
yeah,
you
so what
tell
we do,
me as a student of history, can tell me, is it possible to take revenge or to find justice in the present for any wrong done by anyone in the past? Is that possible even?
this is one thing which so I would put this in a simple manner.
Okay.
British came to India. British came to India and they told us, please fight amongst yourselves so we can rule.
Yeah.
Only the politicians understood this and they adopted the policy. I will never name any single political party because I feel that all over the world, almost every political party somehow follows this. They have
Exactly.
to divide people. In some cases, it is religion. In some cases, it could be economy, or they can find any reason on this planet, but they have to divide people. If people get united, politics goes out because they work for each other then. So they need reason. And any stupid reason which people are ready to believe, and if you have good PR and you can make them believe, floats along.
But hasn't history also taught us that if the ruler, I mean, kings in the past, monarchs in the past, and democratically elected leaders in the present, if they love all their voters and subjects, their vote share is only increased to 100%. Why do they need to divide when they can please all voters and get the support of 100% of people in society? What is this lopsided logic of divide and rule?
It is humanly not possible to please everyone, because the moment you try to please everyone, everybody is, as a general tendency, humans are greedy. And that's how probably God made us. And then he told us, don't be greedy. He made us greedy. So for those who believe in God, yes, that's how humans are. And the moment the the boss, the king, the politician, the leader gets a little friendly with you to please you, you feel that, okay, now I can get my work done from this guy. So why do I bother about other person? Give me a little extra. And everybody wants extra. So how does the leader please everyone? We did one exercise in one of my lab classes. We had this one room where they had, I think, 4 or 6 fans. And then I had my class full of 40 students sitting. And then I said, how about I switch, like 5 students get up and say that we don't want fan, and rest 35 need fan. So what do we do? Do we switch off a fan, or how do we, make them sit? What do we do? So they say that majority is 35, fan should be on. But then why those 5 children? Probably they are suffering from cold or something. Why should they be subjected to this cold air? So then students decided we will switch off one fan, and those 5 kids can sit over there. Rest 35 can sit on the other side. So this is exactly what happened on 14th night and 15th morning in 1947.
Yeah.
You cannot do that. 5 लोगों को पंखा बंद चाहिए, उनको दूसरे कमरे में भेज दो. No, you cannot do that. You have to sit in one room. You have to find an answer. Unfortunately, democracy is one of the most flawed systems that we have, but other systems are even bad. So we have to go with democracy. But there is no perfect democracy, and you cannot please everyone. So the politicians try to go towards the majority.
But
That's what is happening.
sometimes the answers are as simple as the problem itself. I'll give you an example of a time when I was living in Vienna. And Vienna, is in the heart of Europe. It's a Catholic country and also an asylum country. So it was attracting a lot of Bosnian Muslims who were fleeing the war in the collapsed country of Yugoslavia. Now, these Bosnian Muslims and the Austrians probably share the same DNA. They are probably from the same Caucasian uh, ethnic group of people, but they were following two different religions. So the Catholic Viennese, they eat pork, and the Bosnian Muslims, they don't eat pork, and they wanted the stalls that were selling pork sausages to be moved away from where they were praying, or they were eating. So an artist who did an installation outside, in a park, and found a solution saying, we will not remove the pork sausages stalls, but we'll sell sausages that are made of turkey meat, and not of pork meat. So then this satisfies the hunger of the Catholic Austrians as well as the faith of the Bosnian Muslims, you know. So that was a solution found not by the politicians of the day, but by an artist with an art installation, you know. So, I
And
mean,
ma'am, I would like to add, these were the politicians who were actually there for the people. They were not just when there are many of the countries in the world, politicians, when they reach power, it is actually power for them. Like now they are the boss and now nothing can stop them. So that whole mindset, and it is not with the, if I take example of India also, it's not just with the politicians. You go to any city of India in the morning at 7:30 a.m. near any school, and when parents are there to drop their kids, not even a single parent follows any traffic rule. No helmets, no lane driving, no order, nothing. They just want to be there so that their child can get inside because they were late in getting up. And then
but
they create chaos.
your talk of the Heritage Lab is so inspiring. You know, like I want to attend one of these Heritage Labs, you know, as an experiment. Then your other activity is called Delhi Top 10. What is Delhi Top 10?
Delhi Heritage Top 10 series is something that I started. This was actually way before this whole thing. When I started Heritage Photography Club, people started coming to me because in the photography club, the rule was that I will take you for a heritage walk. I'll take you to a monument. You can click a lot of pictures. And Facebook was a new thing, and people were interested back in 2009, 10. People wanted to get more likes and all. So I said, okay, you'll get some fascinating pictures from your own city. You can get a lot of likes. My only condition is that if you're going there for the first time, you cannot take your camera out. You'll just listen to me. Take a round, sit there for half an hour, 1 hour, and then you can take your camera out. So when we started talking, when we started discussing these monuments and all my research, I started bringing in, people were fascinated and they said, why don't you write a book? Like Maulvi Zafar Hassan has listed about 1,300 monuments, and Narani Ma'am Ratish Nanda sir has listed 1,200 plus monuments. It will take me a lifetime to create a book which can detail out all these. So why don't I create something where I touch upon smaller parts of Indian history or Delhi history? So we came up with this idea of Delhi Heritage Top 10. In this Top 10 series, I would do Baulis, forts, gates, wall. That's what the original thought was. We started with Baulis because I realized that water is going to be one most precious commodity that is, that we are losing very fast, and how the ancient and medieval water management system used to work. So we did that, went on well. My Baulis book was very well appreciated by all walks of life. People, they still message me, call me. This has been 5 years, and they still message me, ki, you have done some wonderful work. And now the next in the series is forts. And after forts, I'm planning to pick up this topic complexes. My only challenge is that the content that I want to put in these books, one that has already gone in the first two ones, and what I am planning for the next one, is not easy to find. And that is why my first book took 5 years, the Bauli one, and that was 2019 August when we released the first book. 2024 August we released our second book. So 5 5 years is actually too long for the research, but I'm trying my best.
Yeah, good
So
luck
yeah.
to you. And how did you get a publisher to agree to publish, your Delhi Heritage Top 10? Because it's not easy to convince.
Yeah, most of my books were from a small publisher in Daryaganj that I was purchasing. This guy was publishing all heritage related books, so I would go to his office, and then every month 1 or 2 3 4 big books I would pick. So we became friends, and then he only said, "Why don't you write a book?" And then we started developing this idea. But moment I developed my entire idea and I said, "Ki this might take," or although my original thought was that I'll do it quickly, but that guy knew. He said, "Nahi, tumhe bahut time lagega. You'll take more time than you think." So he also started pulling his feet back, and he had some other plans. And that is when I was in Tughlakabad doing a heritage walk, and I met the now director of Niyogi Books, and she walks up to me and she's like, she was attending that walk. She had just returned to India after her studies in Europe. She came back and she's like, "Why don't you write a book?" I said, "I'm thinking. I'm already working on a manuscript. Or I have a basic idea ready." She said, "Whatever you are saying is interesting. You come and you meet our team." So I went to their office, I met their team, and I presented my idea. This is my thought, these many books, and also they liked the idea and they said, "Okay, let's do this." So actually, I was spotted. I didn't pick anyone. I got spotted.
This is wonderful. So this is the second part. The first one is
Yeah.
the Baulis of Delhi, and this is the 10 forts of Delhi, which I look very forward to reading very much. And which is the third in the series?
My plan is of monument complexes,
Okay.
because in Delhi, I've got heritage complexes which people don't even know about. They only know Mehrauli Ecological Park, or one or two are quite popular, but there are smaller ones also, and there's we have a lot of hidden corners in these monuments, which I think people would love reading about.
Wonderful. And at the moment, your latest venture is liberation. So could you
Yeah,
please
so
talk a little bit? Yeah,
what we do in liberation is actually a phenomena.
library.
Yeah, it's in physics, it's in chemistry, it's in astronomy. So if you point your camera towards moon and start recording, after a month, you take a picture at one particular time every night, and then when you play it in time lapse, you'll feel that this moon is oscillating. So this phenomena where moon is stationary, Earth and moon, they are in their own orbits, they are moving, they are not moving sidewise, only rotating on their axis, but sitting in our homes or on our roofs, we feel that that moon is moving like a pendulum. This phenomena is called libration, and it is in chemistry also, where particles move like that. They appear to move like that. And I wanted to create a library revolution in India. So from there, I started library revolution. So I thought of liberation, and when I found out this meaning of liberation, I said this works perfectly, because even when you pick up a book, it's up to you. You tend towards left or right. You stay in center. That's your way of thinking and how you interpret the book. Book is book. It's all your interpretation. So liberation, the word worked perfectly. Started this company. I spent about 2 years doing my research. This year I started that company formally, and the whole idea behind this was, I realized that this whole fake news and all the problems with history, where like the discussion we started with, where people are trying to push their own narratives, and others just accept it blindly. They don't verify the news. Main reason is they don't want to take the pain to go back to books and verify the information. So if I say, like, I can see this beautiful bald man Mahatma Gandhi behind you, I can write anything said by Mahatma Gandhi. Who's going to go back and ask him? Or are there enough books where all his sayings and quotes are actually documented? Maybe yes. But who's going to take that pain to verify the information? So that's where the problem is. If I can bring back my children, my students, my schools to that habit of reading, maybe at some point they'll start challenging all these common narratives. So where there is a huge community where they're trying to push in fake news, fake information, fake stories, fake history, I'm trying to create a parallel community which will challenge everything because they read. So liberation is all about reading. We're creating a library revolution in schools, trying to connect all the school libraries in India and making sure that children actually read.
That's so
That's
wonderful. I wish you all the luck, and I hope there is lots more learning introduced into society, which is going through a very difficult uh, period in all our lives. Thank you, Vikramjit, for talking to the citizen about the importance, absolute importance of history and heritage in all our lives. Thank you very much, and good luck.